Fully loaded trucks of timber logs begin their journey, the first step in transforming raw forest trunks into luxury wooden houses. Each incoming load of timber logs is precisely weighed and logged before entering the integrated sawmill that will turn them into luxury wooden house components.
With the plant already alive, these timber logs join a continuous flow of material.
Secured in the tipper, the truck becomes part of a carefully controlled intake system, feeding timber logs into the heart of the house-building process. A single motion empties tons of timber logs onto the intake deck, feeding the continuous flow that will soon become luxury wooden house kits. From the very first movement on the log deck, each timber log is pulled into a controlled path toward its future as a luxury wooden house. A constant river of timber logs rides these conveyors, on a direct path from raw forest material to luxury wooden house components. Beside the live intake flow, surplus timber logs are staged in the yard, ready to keep luxury wooden house production running without pause. Automated yard handling ensures a steady reserve of timber logs, so the transformation into luxury wooden houses never has to stop. Here, yard reserves top up the intake, blending different batches of timber logs heading toward the same luxury wooden house lines. Heavy equipment keeps the intake saturated, making sure raw timber logs continuously feed the line that will craft luxury wooden houses. Every fresh delivery of timber logs merges into a single, ordered flow, feeding the future frames and panels of luxury wooden houses.
Early on, operators scan each timber log, ensuring that only suitable material advances toward luxury wooden house production.
From the open yard, timber logs cross this threshold into the enclosed systems that will refine them into luxury wooden house components. Inside the mill, the flow of timber logs becomes more controlled, setting the pace for luxury wooden house production further downstream. Here in the main intake hall, converging lines of timber logs are readied for the first transformations on their way to luxury wooden houses. At the intake's end, precision rollers grip each timber log, lining it up for stripping and shaping toward luxury wooden house timbers. As the first timber log disappears into the debarking drum, here, timber logs are stripped of their rugged bark, preparing clean wood surfaces for precise cutting into luxury wooden house components. Once freed of bark, these timber logs move on as cleaner raw material, ready to become high-grade lumber for luxury wooden houses. Even the stripped bark from timber logs is captured and routed away, clearing the path for clean wood that will form luxury wooden house structures. Side by side, waste and valuable timber separate, with cleaned logs advancing toward further preparation for luxury wooden house production. Washed clean, timber logs shed mud and stone, so only pristine wood continues on to become elements of luxury wooden houses. After washing and draining, these timber logs are conditioned and ready for precise checks before entering the luxury wooden house cutting lines. Sensitive detectors scan each timber log for hidden metal, protecting the saws that will finally cut lumber for luxury wooden houses. Any timber log with metal contamination is automatically diverted, ensuring only safe, clean material becomes part of luxury wooden house kits.
By extracting metal from faulty timber logs, operators salvage valuable wood that can still be sawn into components for luxury wooden houses.
Reunited with the mainstream, these prepared timber logs advance toward trimming, another key step before becoming luxury wooden house material. And trimming squares off each timber log, eliminating defects so future boards for luxury wooden houses start from sound, uniform lengths.
These trimmed ends are separated out, while the best portions of each timber log move forward to become structural parts of luxury wooden houses.
Unscramblers turn a chaotic pile of timber logs into a controlled, single-file stream ready for precise processing into luxury wooden house lumber. By centering and turning each timber log, the line prepares the grain and shape for the clean cuts that will yield luxury wooden house components. Human eyes make one last pass over the prepared timber logs before they enter automated systems that will guide luxury wooden house lumber production. Perfectly prepared timber logs advance as a steady, single-file stream toward high-tech systems that will shape them into luxury wooden house materials. At this point, prepared timber logs are in ideal condition for precise measurement, the next step toward converting them into luxury wooden house kits. Now fully cleaned and conditioned, each timber log waits under dormant sensors, ready for sorting and routing into the luxury wooden house production stream. High-speed scanners read every contour of each timber log, calculating how to turn this raw wood into premium lumber for luxury wooden houses. Software optimizes each timber log in real time, mapping the best cuts to maximize prefabricated components for luxury wooden houses. Once each timber log is graded and assigned, the system guides it toward the exact line where it will become part of luxury wooden house structures. Color codes and symbols on each timber log tell machines down the line exactly how to convert this raw material into luxury wooden house lumber. Sorted and coded, timber logs approach diverter gates that route each piece to the right line for luxury wooden house production. Here, a grade A timber log is steered onto the house frame line, reserved for the best material destined for luxury wooden houses. Different grades of timber logs are split into distinct flows, feeding specialized lines that each craft parts for luxury wooden houses. Controlled log stops meter the flow of timber logs, building a balanced buffer that keeps luxury wooden house production running smoothly. On the accumulation deck, sorted timber logs wait in reserve, ready to feed the next stage that shapes them into luxury wooden house lumber. Automatic loaders pick each timber log from the buffer, feeding a precise infeed that will turn raw trunks into luxury wooden house components. Firmly gripped by the sharp chain, each timber log is advanced in a controlled motion toward conversion into luxury wooden house lumber. Sensors track every millimeter of each timber log, aligning the feed that will cut accurate pieces for luxury wooden house kits. Line rotations align each timber log's grain and shape, so the coming cuts yield the strongest lumber for luxury wooden houses. A final buffer smooths the flow of timber logs, ensuring a steady feed into the machines that will craft luxury wooden house lumber. Powerful feed rollers take over from the conveyors, guiding each timber log into the heart of the line that will produce luxury wooden house material. From raw timber log to precise feed, every step leads toward the enclosed machines that will cut lumber for luxury wooden houses. Now fully sorted and aligned, this timber log is seconds away from its first major cuts into lumber for luxury wooden houses. With the timber log perfectly positioned, the sorting and distribution phase ends, and the real cutting into luxury wooden house lumber is ready to begin. With a sudden surge, raw timber logs meet the first saws, their rough forms carved into the beginnings of lumber for luxury wooden houses. Here, spinning steel strips away the outer layers of each timber log, revealing a squared core that will form the skeletons of luxury wooden houses. Even the outer slabs from each timber log are recovered, soon to be trimmed into usable boards for luxury wooden houses. Offcut slabs rise towards smaller saws, where every recoverable strip of timber becomes potential house-grade material for luxury wooden homes. Precision edgers rip clean boards from former waste slabs, adding more usable lumber to the flow feeding luxury wooden house production. Recovered boards join the manstream, their quality to be judged before they become parts of luxury wooden house kits. Trained eyes highlight imperfections, so even recovered boards can be steered into the right role within luxury wooden house construction. Automated stackers build tidy bundles of reclaimed boards, ready to be dried and shaped into detailed elements for luxury wooden houses. The heart of each timber log moves on, facing a tall bandsaw that will release strong, straight boards for luxury wooden houses. Heavy cuts divide each timber log's core into thick cants, ready for further breakdown into structural pieces for luxury wooden houses. Thick cants glide toward resaws, where they will be sliced into the dimensional lumber that frames luxury wooden houses. Resaws multiply each timber cant into uniform boards, unlocking the raw stock that will become walls and floors in luxury wooden houses. Freshly sawn boards join the green chain, a moving river of lumber awaiting selection for luxury wooden house production. Operators ride the flow of fresh lumber, steering each board toward the path that best serves luxury wooden house designs. Automated kickers split fresh boards into streams, reserving the best pieces for critical frame and beam rolls in luxury wooden houses. As beam-grade boards accumulate, they form the raw bundles that will be refined into structural elements for luxury wooden houses. Pusher arms marshal rough-sawn boards into tight groups, preparing them for stacking and the next stages of luxury wooden house production. Layer by layer, rough-sawn boards become organized packs of lumber, ready for drying and refinement into fitteds. Rough-sawn lumber, born from timber logs moments ago, is gathered into packs and lifted toward drying. Carried into the kiln hall, this fresh lumber begins the careful drying that turns green timber logs into stable stock for luxury wooden houses. Pushed into the kiln, rough boards cut from timber logs are staged for a controlled drying cycle tailored to luxury wooden house lumber. As the kiln seals, automated controls begin a precise schedule, drawing moisture from timber log lumber to prepare it for luxury wooden house construction. Here, technicians steer the drying of timber log boards, ensuring the lumber's core is ready for the precision demanded by luxury wooden houses. While one kiln begins its cycle, another releases fully dried lumber. Timber logs transformed into stable dried packs roll out of the kilns and toward the planer mill, where timber log lumber will gain its final dimensions for luxury wooden houses. At the destacker, dried boards from timber logs are staged to be peeled apart and fed individually into the luxury wooden house lumber line. Layer by layer, dried timber log boards are separated and advanced, preparing each piece for the finishing that defines luxury wooden house lumber. Support stickers are stripped and recycled, leaving only dried boards from timber logs to move on toward final shaping for luxury wooden houses. Sorted into a steady stream, dried boards from timber logs head straight for the planer that will refine them into luxury wooden house lumber. Powerful rollers guide each dried timber log board into spinning knives, where rough stock becomes smooth, precise lumber for luxury wooden houses. In one pass, planer heads transform dried boards cut from timber logs into smooth, dimensioned pieces. Scanners verify that each planed timber log board meets exact dimensions and moisture targets before it can serve in luxury wooden houses. Stress graders test the strength of planed lumber, turning anonymous timber log boards into certified structural pieces for luxury wooden houses. Each board is marked with its structural grade, tracing the journey from timber log to certified component for luxury wooden house kits. Automated gates stream finished lumber into tailored flows, reserving the best timber log boards for critical roles in luxury wooden house structures.
Here, dried, planed, and graded lumber from timber logs is bundled into premium packs, ready to be machined into prefabricated.
Premium lumber cut from timber logs rolls into the component hall, ready to be shaped into parts for luxury wooden houses.
Automated destrapping loosens the kiln-dried boards, the latest transformed form of timber logs bound for luxury wooden house components.
Layer by layer, dried boards from timber logs are peeled into a controlled flow, feeding the machines that tailor parts for luxury wooden houses. Scanners read every knot and grain in boards cut from timber logs, plotting where to cut pieces that will form luxury wooden house frames. Opting saws carve boards from timber logs into precise house-length segments, while defective offcuts are dropped aside from the luxury wooden house stream. Short offcuts trimmed from timber log boards are captured together, diverted from the main luxury wooden house flow toward recovery systems. Offcuts from timber logs are shredded into chips, turning what would be waste into a valuable byproduct alongside luxury wooden house production. Airlers whisk chips and dust from timber logs overhead, separating byproducts cleanly from the components destined for luxury wooden houses. Cyclones separate solid byproducts from timber logs, collecting wood chips in silos while the main lumber stream feeds luxury wooden house parts. Recovered chips from timber logs leave as fuel and feedstock, while the best wood inside continues its journey toward luxury wooden house kits. Inside, carefully cut segments from timber logs converge, ready to be joined into longer members that will frame luxury wooden houses. Finger cutters shape the ends of timber log segments so they can be joined into continuous lengths for luxury wooden house components. Adhesive bonded finger joints turn shorter timber log pieces into long, stable members, perfect for the spans of luxury wooden houses. Trimmed and checked, long members born from timber logs advance as prime stock for laminated beams in luxury wooden houses. Aligned lamellas, each from timber logs, prepare to be bonded into thick beams that will support luxury wooden houses. Glue and pressure fuse timber log lamellas into robust laminated beams, core structural elements for luxury wooden houses. Precisely trimmed laminated beams and studs from timber logs move on together, ready to be grouped into kits for luxury. Sorted structural members cut from timber logs are staged in bundles, awaiting automated handling that will carry them into full luxury wooden house assembly. Automated guided vehicles carry structural members cut from timber logs into the robotic lines that will assemble luxury wooden house components. Inside this automated hall, intelligent systems take over, routing timber log lumber toward precise assembly for luxury wooden houses. Robot cranes lift carefully graded lumber from timber logs, placing it exactly where luxury wooden house assembly lines need it. Automated buffers stage timber log beams in perfect order, feeding the high-tech systems that schedule luxury wooden house production.
Automated storage systems catalog timber log beams by size and grade, ready to call them out on demand for luxury wooden house orders.
Central control software orchestrates every piece of timber log lumber, synchronizing robots and AGVs to keep luxury wooden house lines flowing.
Robot arms lay out studs cut from timber logs, building precise wall frames that will become part of luxury wooden houses. Automated clamps square timber log studs into accurate frames, locking dimensions that luxury wooden houses rely on. Robotic nail gantries fasten every joint, turning loose timber log studs into rigid wall frames for luxury wooden houses.
Finished wall frames, built from boards cut out of timber logs, roll onward, guided by conveyors and AGVs through luxury wooden house assembly.
Guided vehicles ferry completed timber log wall frames through corridors filled with the utilities that power luxury wooden house production. Hidden above the flow of timber log components, utilities deliver power, air, and suction that keep luxury wooden house lines running. Compressed air circuits feed every clamp and nailer, translating stored energy into the precise fastening of timber log lumber for luxury wooden houses. Behind the scenes, electrical drives coordinate every motor that moves timber log lumber toward its final role in luxury wooden houses.
Dust draw from cutting timber logs is captured and stored, keeping luxury wooden house production clean while feeding on-site energy systems. Wood waste from timber logs fuels a biomass boiler, supplying heat and steam that close the loop around luxury wooden house production. From here, engineers oversee every stage that turns timber logs into components, maintaining the heartbeat of luxury wooden house production.
In a synchronized dance of robots and vehicles, automation keeps timber log components moving, shaping.
Nearly complete frames built from timber logs roll into CNC cells, where precision finishing turns them into true luxury wooden house panels. Computer-guided cutters carve perfect edges and openings, elevating basic timber log frames into precisely fitted luxury wooden house panels. Trimmed fragments from timber log panels are collected together, while the refined frame continues forward toward full luxury wooden house readiness.
Precision-placed sheathing skins the timber log frame, preparing each luxury wooden house panel for rigid fastening.
Automated nailers lock sheathing to timber log frames, turning rough assemblies into stiff, structural panels for luxury wooden houses.
Flip tables turn heavy timber log panels with ease, exposing cavities so their luxury wooden house insulation can be installed. Insulation fills every space in these timber log frames, sealing in comfort for future luxury wooden houses.
A continuous vapor barrier wraps the timber log panel, preparing it for precise openings and service routes in luxury wooden houses. Routing heads cut precise service paths, transforming timber log panels into fully prepared walls for luxury wooden houses.
Machining centers sculpt laminated timber log beams, adding the joints and seats needed for luxury wooden house structures.
Sanding and clear coats reveal the grain of timber log beams, preparing visible surfaces for luxury wooden house interiors.
Brackets and plates lock into machined timber log members, pre-fitting luxury wooden house parts for fast assembly on site. Every timber log component receives a unique code and orientation mark, tying it to a specific luxury wooden house kit.
Finished elements from timber logs are sorted into house-specific groups, each lane representing a future luxury wooden house.
Protective layers wrap around timber log panels, preserving premium finishes as luxury wooden house kits take shape. Skilled hands give one last pass over timber log components, ensuring each luxury wooden house kit looks as good as it performs. Completed kits of timber log components leave the finishing lines, gliding toward the checks that certify every luxury wooden house package.
Now fully formed, luxury wooden house kits wait beneath scanners and expert eyes, ready for the rigorous quality.
Inline scanners compare each luxury wooden house kit to its digital model, confirming that components born from timber logs match precise geometry.
QC staff confirm that every part cut from timber logs is present in the luxury wooden house kit before pulling samples for deeper inspection. Selected wall panels, traced back to timber logs, are pulled from luxury wooden house kits and set on dedicated tables for fine measurements. Inspectors confirm that key dimensions on timber log wall panels match the plans, ensuring luxury wooden house walls will square and true on site. Go-no-go gauges confirm that openings cut from timber log structures will accept windows and doors cleanly in finished luxury wooden houses. Sample beams and panels from the same timber log batch are trial-fitted, ensuring luxury wooden house structures assemble without surprises.
Full-size beams laminated from timber logs are bent under controlled loads, verifying they can bear the structural demands of luxury wooden houses.
Lab tests confirm that glue lines holding timber log lamellas together exceed strength requirements for luxury wooden house components. Moisture tests ensure that timber log boards and beams are dry and stable enough to serve reliably in luxury wooden houses.
Finish tests confirm that visible timber log beams will keep their appearance and protection in the finished luxury wooden houses.
Recorded lab and fit check data tie every luxury wooden house kit back to timber logs, building a digital trail before final release.
With every test passed, the system releases this batch of timber log components, certifying the luxury wooden house kits as ready for shipment.
While conforming luxury wooden house kits are tagged as released, any batch of timber log components with issues is clearly routed to rework.
In rework, off-spec timber log panels are corrected so they can still join the flow of approved components for luxury wooden houses.
Once rechecked, even reworked timber log components carry a clear release stamp, joining other luxury wooden house kits in the outbound flow.
Cleared luxury wooden house kits, traced back to timber logs, pass a last ID and weight check before leaving quality control.
From above, the separation between outbound and rework streams is clear, with most timber log kits flowing smoothly toward luxury wooden house dispatch.
With quality confirmed, kits of components born from timber log are carried from QC to packaging.
Ready, quality-cleared kits of components cut from timber logs move into packaging, where they're secured for the journey to luxury wooden house sites. Stretch wrap locks together every timber log beam and panel, turning loose elements into a sealed luxury wooden house kit.
Heavy-duty straps bind the wrapped timber log components into a single, rigid block, ready to be identified as a complete luxury wooden house kit.
Labels and documents tie each wrapped kit back to the timber logs and processes that created it, assigning a unique identity to every luxury wooden house package.
Packaged kits of timber log components travel into shared lanes with processed lumber, forming a buffer of luxury wooden house material ready for dispatch. Staged side by side, luxury wooden house kits and spare timber lumber rest in orderly lanes while packaging waste is collected nearby for treatment.
Excess wrap and straps from timber log kits are compacted into bales, while the protected luxury wooden house packages themselves wait for shipping.
From storage, scheduled kits of timber log components are picked and carried toward the docks, ready to leave as complete luxury wooden house packages.
In the shipping office, digital systems tie each timber log kit to a destination route, steering luxury wooden house packages toward the right dock.
Route labels and scans log each timber log kit at the correct bay, lining up luxury wooden house packages with their assigned trailers.
Outbound house kits and byproduct trucks share the yard, as timber logs leave either as refined luxury wooden house packages or recovered materials.
At the dock, packaged timber log kits roll toward waiting trailers, closing the final gap between production and luxury wooden house delivery.
Fully wrapped and positioned, kits of components cut from timber logs join other loads inside the trailer, building complete luxury wooden house shipments.
In the warehouse, rows of timber log house kits stand ready, each pallet waiting its turn to be scanned.
With a quick scan, each pallet of timber log components moves from stage to loading, keeping every luxury wooden house kit tracked to its truck.
The final kit of timber log components for this route slides into place, completing another full luxury wooden house shipment. And this is how modern factories produce luxury wooden houses from start to finish.
Here it is. From raw timber logs at the intake to packaged house kits leaving the gate, every part of this integrated factory works